Right now, in this very moment, something extraordinary is happening in the spiritual realm. This isn't just another motivational message or empty promise. This is about understanding a profound truth that Dr. Joseph Murphy spent his life teaching. That there are divine appointments orchestrated by the universe itself, moments when the heavens align in your favor, when the barriers dissolve and miracles cease to be rare exceptions and become inevitable realities. And here's what's truly fascinating. The fact that you're watching this video right now is no accident. Out of millions of videos you could have clicked on, out of countless distractions competing for your attention, you found yourself here, reading these words at this precise moment in time. Have you ever felt like there's an invisible barrier standing between you and the financial breakthrough you've been praying for? Like no matter how hard you work, how much you believe, or how desperately you need a miracle, something unseen keeps blocking the flow of abundance into your life. If you've ever experienced that frustrating sensation of being stuck in the same financial patterns, cycling through the same struggles month after month, then what you're about to discover in this video might be the missing key you've been searching for. But before we go any deeper into this powerful revelation, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Now, I need you to consider something important. What if the financial struggle you've been experiencing isn't just about economics or bad luck? What if there's been an actual warfare happening in dimensions you cannot see with your physical eyes? A battle over your prosperity that's been raging in the unseen realms. Dr. Joseph Murphy understood that our material reality is merely a reflection of deeper spiritual laws and forces at work. For too long, you may have been fighting on the wrong battlefield, trying to solve spiritual problems with purely physical solutions. Has this ever happened to you? You work harder than everyone around you, yet they seem to prosper while you barely get by. You plant seeds of faith, you give generously, you pray consistently, yet the harvest seems perpetually delayed. That's because there's a drought that needs to be broken, not in the natural realm, but in the spiritual atmosphere surrounding your life. And today, something shifts. Today marks a turning point. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what you're about to discover might surprise you. The heavens that have seemed closed, the opportunities that have seemed blocked, the blessings that have seemed distant, all of this is about to change. This is your divine appointment, the moment when you step across the threshold from spiritual warfare into spiritual victory, from financial drought into a downpour of provision. The question is, are you ready to receive what's already been prepared for you? The truth is, most people don't understand the nature of spiritual breakthrough. They think transformation happens gradually, like climbing a mountain one slow step at a time. But Dr. Joseph Murphy taught something radically different, something that goes against everything. Conventional wisdom tells us. He understood that true abundance doesn't trickle down, it floods in. When the spiritual gates finally open, when the alignment happens, when the appointment arrives, you don't experience incremental improvement. You experience sudden manifestation. This is the hidden truth that changes everything. The blessing that makes rich adds no sorrow with it. There's no guilt attached, no hidden price to pay later, no cosmic debt that needs balancing. It's pure, uncontaminated provision flowing directly from the source. Think about it this way. Right now, while you're watching this, there are resources that already have your name on them. There are opportunities being arranged, doors being unlocked, and solutions being prepared that you cannot yet see with your natural eyes. The journey you've been on, with all its struggles and delays, wasn't punishment or evidence that you're doing something wrong. It was preparation. Every moment of waiting was building your capacity to receive what's coming. Your mindset has been shifting, your faith has been strengthening, and behind the scenes in the spiritual realm, forces you cannot perceive have been working on your behalf. Dr. Joseph Murphy spoke often about the invisible intelligence that governs the universe, about laws that operate whether we acknowledge them or not. And one of these fundamental revelations is this: when you align with divine timing, when you step into your appointed moment, things move with supernatural speed. The same financial problems that seemed immovable for years can dissolve overnight. The same debts that felt crushing can be cancelled in ways you never imagined. Resources begin flowing from directions you weren't even looking, north, south, east, and west, as the ancient wisdom describes it. This isn't metaphor. This is how spiritual law actually operates in the physical world. What's happening as you receive these words is an energetic shift, a transformation in your atmosphere. The very act of opening your mind to these truths creates space for them to manifest. Your decisions in this moment, the choice to believe that something greater is possible, sets invisible forces into motion. Angels, if you prefer that language, or universal intelligence if you prefer scientific terminology, whatever framework resonates with you, these forces respond to conviction, to faith, to the alignment between your inner world and the abundance that exists all around you. Now, I want to go even deeper into this revelation because understanding the mechanism behind this transformation is what separates those who merely hope for change from those who actually experience it. Write in the comments, "I receive this now," if what I'm sharing is resonating with something deep inside you. Here's what most people never realize about financial blockages. They're not random. There's a pattern, a system operating in the unseen dimensions that Dr. Joseph Murphy spent decades studying and teaching about. He called it the subconscious mind. Others call it spiritual warfare, but the impact is the same. Invisible barriers that function like embargoes, restricting the flow of prosperity into your life. These aren't physical obstacles you can see or touch. They're energetic, spiritual blockages that operate in the realm of consciousness and belief. And here's the powerful revelation. When you understand the authority you actually possess, when you grasp the true nature of your spiritual identity, these embargoes lose their power instantly. If you're serious about walking in supernatural abundance and want to keep learning how to activate these spiritual laws in your life, go ahead and subscribe to this channel right now. We're building a community of people who refuse to accept limitation and are stepping into their full financial authority. This is your season. Not tomorrow, not next year, not when conditions are perfect. Right now, in this present moment, you're positioned to attract wealth in ways that defy natural explanation. The word magnetize is crucial here because it describes exactly how spiritual law operates. You don't chase abundance, you become a magnet for it. Your internal state, your frequency, your consciousness creates an attractive force that draws resources, opportunities, and divine provision toward you. This isn't wishful thinking or positive psychology. This is ancient wisdom backed by quantum physics. The understanding that consciousness shapes reality, that what you focus on expands, that belief precedes manifestation. But something even more profound happens when you engage with truth at this level. There's activation that occurs through hearing, through receiving, through opening yourself to these principles. Dr. Joseph Murphy discovered that the subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what you imagine vividly and what you experience physically. It responds to the images, words, and feelings you feed it. So as you're absorbing this message right now, as these concepts penetrate your awareness, there's an actual shift happening within your psyche, within your energy field, within what the ancients called your anointing, or your spiritual atmosphere. Think about oil for a moment, how it flows, how it spreads, how it covers everything it touches. That's the metaphor being used here, because prosperity, true abundance, doesn't arrive in isolated pockets. It flows. It spreads. Throughout every area of your life, your relationships improve, your health strengthens, your creativity expands, your influence grows. This is the oil of prosperity. And when it begins flowing upon you, when divine favor overtakes you, the things you've been praying for, working toward, and waiting to see finally break through into your reality. The journey you've been on has been preparing you for this moment of transformation. Every decision you've made, even the ones that seemed like mistakes, has been part of a larger pattern bringing you to this exact point. Behind the scenes, there's been an orchestration you couldn't perceive, arranging circumstances, positioning people, timing events for maximum impact. And what's about to happen next will show you exactly how to sustain this flow, how to keep the gates open, how to maintain this supernatural increase. If you're feeling something stirring inside you right now, write in the comments, "I'm ready for this shift." What Dr. Joseph Murphy understood, and what so many miss, is that faith isn't some abstract religious concept you practice on Sundays. Faith is currency. It's the actual medium of exchange in the spiritual economy, the force that converts invisible potential into visible reality. Every successful person, whether they acknowledge it or not, operates on this principle. They believe in something before they see it. They hold an image in their mind with such conviction that the universe rearranges itself to match that image. This is the hidden truth behind every great achievement, every financial breakthrough, every impossible dream that became concrete fact. Someone believed strongly enough to pull it from the realm of possibility into the realm of manifestation. But here's where most people get stuck. They believe passively, they hope quietly, they wish silently. And nothing changes because faith without expression is like electricity without a conductor. All potential, no power. The transformation happens when you understand that you possess creative authority, that the same intelligence that spoke worlds into existence has given you the capacity to speak into your own circumstances. This isn't arrogance. It's awareness of your true nature. You are made in the image of the Creator, which means you carry creative power within your consciousness, within your words, within your declarations. Think about the original act of creation, let there be light. Not a request, not a plea, not a hope. A decree, a statement of what is now true, and light appeared. That same principle operates in your life right now. When you speak with conviction, when your words flow from genuine belief rather than doubt or fear, when you decree rather than beg, you activate forces that respond to certainty. Your reality begins to reshape itself around the words you consistently speak. This is why people who constantly talk about their problems keep experiencing those problems. Their words are decrees, maintaining their current state. But when you shift your language, when you begin speaking abundance over lack, possibility over limitation, breakthrough over blockage, you literally call forth a different reality. The impact of this understanding cannot be overstated. Your mouth becomes the instrument through which your faith operates, the channel through which invisible substance becomes visible form. Every time you declare something aligned with divine truth, aligned with the principles Dr. Joseph Murphy taught, you're not just making noise, you're legislating in the spiritual realm. You're establishing laws over your own life. Behind the scenes, in dimensions you cannot perceive with physical senses, your words are creating pathways, opening doors, attracting resources, and aligning circumstances. This is the mechanism that separates those who perpetually struggle from those who walk in consistent overflow. It's not intelligence, not background, not even opportunity. It's the understanding that you have authority to speak light into darkness, order into chaos, abundance into scarcity. And the moment you truly grasp this, everything shifts. Put in the comments, "I speak abundance," if this revelation is landing in your spirit right now. There's a principle Dr. Joseph Murphy taught that completely revolutionizes how you approach life. The atmosphere around you is not static. It's responsive, intelligent, alive with possibility. The moment you open your mouth in genuine faith, not wishful hoping but actual conviction, the very air around you begins to shift. This isn't poetry or metaphor. This is describing an actual phenomenon that quantum physics is only now beginning to validate. Your consciousness, your words, your belief system creates a field of influence that extends beyond your physical body. And when that field is charged with faith, when it carries the frequency of certainty rather than doubt, the invisible forces governing reality stand at attention. Think about how this changes everything. You're not shouting into a void, hoping someone might hear. You're speaking into an intelligent universe that responds to the signal you're broadcasting. Heaven, or the universal mind, if you prefer that language, performs the word you release. Not might perform, not considers performing, performs. This is the hidden truth that transforms your entire relationship with reality. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become a legislator of outcomes. Your decisions carry weight in dimensions you cannot see. Your declarations set divine order into motion, arranging events, aligning people, orchestrating circumstances in ways that appear miraculous, but are actually the natural result of spiritual law operating correctly. But here's where the real transformation in mindset must occur. Most people approach life from a position of lack, as if they're beggars hoping for handouts from a distant, unpredictable source. Dr. Joseph Murphy spent his entire career dismantling this false identity. You are not a beggar in the spiritual kingdom. You are an heir, which means everything that exists in the realm of infinite possibility already belongs to you. You're not asking for permission to access what you need. You're claiming your inheritance, exercising your authority, stepping into your true identity as a legislator in the spirit. This isn't arrogance. This is alignment with how reality actually functions. When you decree something from this position of spiritual authority, you're not making requests, you're legislating heaven's intentions upon earth. You're enacting divine will in the material realm. And here's what's so powerful about this. Creation must yield to your command when it's spoken from this place of understanding. Not because you're forcing anything, but because you're operating in harmony with the fundamental laws governing existence. Behind the scenes, in the invisible architecture of reality, your words become creative forces shaping outcomes, attracting resources, opening pathways that were previously hidden. The impact of embracing this identity cannot be measured. It's the difference between living reactively, bouncing from crisis to crisis, and living proactively, creating the reality you desire through conscious decree. Your journey up to this point has been teaching you this truth, preparing you to step into this authority. And what's about to unfold will show you exactly how to wield this power. With precision and consistency. Write in the comments, "I am an heir," if this is shifting something fundamental in how you see yourself. Now I want to go even deeper into what happens when you truly embrace this understanding, because this is where things get absolutely extraordinary. Dr. Joseph Murphy discovered something that contradicts everything conventional thinking teaches. You are not bound by natural laws the way you think you are. When you walk in genuine faith, when you operate from that place of spiritual authority we just discussed, you literally cease functioning under worldly limitations. You tap into a higher operating system, divine laws that supersede the rules governing ordinary existence. This is why some people prosper during recessions, while others struggle during booms. This is why certain individuals attract resources from impossible directions, while others can't catch a break despite perfect conditions. They're operating under different laws entirely. Faith becomes the key that unlocks heaven's storehouses, giving you access to infinite supply that has nothing to do with natural economic conditions. The stock market can crash, industries can collapse, currencies can fluctuate wildly, and yet you remain untouched because you're drawing from a source that exists beyond material systems. This isn't theory. This is observable reality for those who understand the principle. Behind the scenes of what appears to be luck or chance, there's actually a precise spiritual mechanism at work, responding to the frequency of faith rather than the conditions of circumstance. There's an ancient story that perfectly illustrates this transformation in how provision works. A widow found herself at the absolute end of her resources, facing starvation with nothing left but a handful of flour and a little oil. By every natural calculation, she was finished. But when she encountered divine instruction, when she was asked to give from that lack in faith, she made a decision that defied logic. She obeyed. She gave despite having nothing. And the moment she acted on that faith, supernatural provision activated. Her jar of flour never emptied. Her jug of oil never ran dry. Not because the laws of physics changed, but because she accessed a higher law through obedience and belief. This is the hidden truth most people never grasp. Giving from lack is the greatest expression of faith, and it triggers mechanisms in the spiritual realm that natural thinking cannot comprehend. Your mindset in that moment determines everything. When you hold on from fear, you operate under scarcity consciousness, and scarcity becomes your reality. But when you release in faith, even when it seems impossible, you demonstrate trust in infinite supply, and infinite supply becomes your experience. The impact of this single principle has transformed more lives than almost any other teaching Dr. Joseph Murphy shared, because it addresses the root issue, not your circumstances, but your consciousness about your circumstances. The journey from natural provision to supernatural provision requires this shift, this willingness to act in ways that don't make sense to the calculating mind, but align perfectly with spiritual law. And what's emerging now will show you exactly how to apply this in your specific situation. Type in the comments, "I trust the process," if you're willing to make decisions from faith rather than fear. Here's what separates those who receive from those who merely wish, understanding what actually moves the universe to respond. Dr. Joseph Murphy made this crystal clear. The divine intelligence governing reality is not moved by your need. Think about that for a moment. Your desperation, your struggle, your crisis situation doesn't trigger supernatural intervention. What it attracts is sympathy, pity, compassion from other humans perhaps, but not power, not transformation, not the kind of divine transaction that actually changes your circumstances. Faith, on the other hand, attracts power, real, tangible, world-altering power. When you operate from faith, when you decree from a place of belief rather than begging from a place of desperation, you provoke the miraculous. You create an exchange in the spiritual realm where heaven responds to the currency of your conviction. If this message stirred something inside you, if you felt the truth of these principles resonating in your spirit, show me by hitting that like button. It's a simple way to say, yes, this is what I needed to hear. And it helps spread this message to others who need it just as much as you did. This is the hidden truth that revolutionizes everything. Stop presenting your needs and start presenting your faith. Stop explaining your problems and start declaring your solutions. The shift in mindset from victim to victor, from beggar to heir, from hopeful to certain, this is what activates the mechanisms behind the scenes that actually produce results. Your decisions in how you approach the divine, how you position yourself spiritually, determine entirely different outcomes. One approach keeps you stuck in cycles of lack, while the other opens floodgates of provision. But here's where most people falter. They believe internally, but remain silent externally. They hold faith in their hearts, but never give it voice. And Dr. Joseph Murphy understood that faith believes, but decree enforces. There's a crucial distinction here that changes the entire game. Belief is internal conviction. Decree is external expression. You take that unseen certainty and you give it voice with authority. You speak it into the atmosphere. You declare it over your circumstances. You announce it as established fact. This isn't positive affirmations or wishful thinking. This is spiritual legislation, the act of enforcing in the natural realm what you know to be true in the spiritual realm. You cannot afford to remain silent when darkness, when limitation, when invisible barriers have erected walls against your financial breakthrough. Silence in the face of opposition is agreement with that opposition. Your quiet acceptance of lack becomes permission for lack to continue. You must rise in faith and speak the word with power. Not timidly, not hopefully, not tentatively, with authority. With the same certainty that light follows the flip of a switch, that spring follows winter, that harvest follows planting. Your voice becomes the instrument through which your faith operates in the material world, and the impact of consistently speaking truth over your situation cannot be overstated. Behind the scenes, in dimensions you don't perceive, your decrees are creating movement. They're dismantling barriers. They're attracting resources. They're aligning circumstances. This is the journey from passive hoping to active creating, from spectator to participant, from victim of circumstance to architect of destiny. And what's unfolding now will reveal exactly how to structure your decrees for maximum effectiveness. Put in the comments, "I decree abundance," if you're ready to use your voice as the powerful tool it truly is. What happens when you consistently speak with faith and authority is nothing short of remarkable. Dr. Joseph Murphy taught that your words don't just disappear into thin air, they become the actual blueprint for your miracle. Think of it like architectural plans for a building. The builder doesn't create randomly, they follow the blueprint precisely. In the same way, the invisible forces orchestrating reality behind the scenes use your declarations as instructions for what to manifest. Angels, or if you prefer more modern language, the universal intelligence that governs synchronicity and circumstance, are dispatched to arrange events in your favor. They coordinate timing, position people, open doors, create opportunities, all based on the blueprint you've provided through your spoken decrees. There's a process happening in dimensions beyond physical sight, where the creative spirit broods over your declarations, the same way it brooded over the waters at creation, birthing manifestations that align perfectly with your faith. This isn't instantaneous like flipping a switch, but it is inevitable like planting a seed. You're building spiritual momentum with every faithful declaration. Each time you speak truth over your situation, you add energy to the momentum already building. It compounds, accelerates, gains force until what was invisible breaks through into visible reality. The transformation doesn't happen all at once. It's the accumulation of consistent faith expressed through consistent decree. But here's the critical distinction that separates effective decree from empty words. Your declarations must be rooted in something deeper than desire. They must be anchored in revelation. Faith is not wishful thinking, not hopeful imagination, not desperate pleading. Faith is confidence in what has already been established as truth. Dr. Joseph Murphy spent decades helping people understand this. You're not trying to convince the universe to do something it's reluctant to do. You're aligning yourself with laws that already exist, principles that are already operative, promises that have already been made. The hidden truth here is that provision already exists in the realm of infinite possibility. Your role isn't to create it from nothing, but to draw it from the invisible into the visible. Through faith rooted in revelation. This means you must know what has been promised concerning your provision. You can't decree effectively from ignorance. You have to meditate on truth until it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. This is where most people's journey falters. They speak words without conviction because they haven't invested time understanding the principles behind those words. Your mindset must be saturated with revelation. You need to know, not just hope. That abundance is your inheritance. That prosperity isn't reserved for a special few, but is available to all who align with the laws governing it. The impact of meditation cannot be understated because it's the process by which external truth becomes internal conviction, and internal conviction is what gives your decrees their power. Behind the scenes of every manifestation is this foundation work, this preparation of consciousness, this transformation from doubt to certainty. Your decisions about what you'll accept as true determine what you'll experience as real. Write in the comments, "I meditate on truth," if you're committing to this foundational practice that makes everything else effective. Now, I want to go even deeper into understanding the legal dimension of what you're doing when you decree. Dr. Joseph Murphy recognized something that most people completely overlook. There's a covenant in place, an agreement, a binding contract, if you will, that gives you legal standing in the spiritual realm. When you stand on divine promises and decree them over your life, you're not making requests. You're enforcing rights. You're presenting legal evidence in the court of heaven, documentation that proves your case, testimony that validates your claim. This is your covenant right, secured through sacrifice, activated through faith, and enforced through decree. The hidden truth here transforms everything about how you approach provision. There was an exchange made on your behalf, a divine transaction where poverty was taken so that prosperity could be given. Jesus became poor in every dimension, financially, relationally, physically, emotionally, so that you might become rich in every dimension. Not just money, though that's included, but wholeness in every area of existence. This inheritance was purchased at the cross, secured through blood covenant, and made accessible to everyone who believes. But here's what most people miss. Having access and taking possession are two completely different things. Faith gives you access, the right to approach, the legal standing to claim what's yours. But decree enforces possession. It's the act of actually taking what's available, of moving from theoretical access to actual ownership. This is the journey from believing to receiving, and it requires both elements working together. You can believe all day long, acknowledge that provision exists, accept that it's possible for others, even agree intellectually that it's available to you. But until you decree, until you speak those faith-filled words that enforce your covenant right, you remain in the realm of potential rather than manifestation. Through your voice, through your declarations, you transition from observer to participant, from heir apparent to heir in possession. Your words become the bridge between the invisible and the visible, the mechanism through which spiritual reality materializes in physical form. And here's where the real power becomes evident. Every decree you make in agreement with established promises sends shockwaves through the spiritual realm. These aren't gentle ripples, they're seismic disturbances that dislodge resistance, break apart barriers, shatter limitations that have been blocking your breakthrough. Behind the scenes, in dimensions you cannot perceive, your authoritative declarations create turbulence in the enemy's plans, disruption in systems designed to keep you contained, chaos in structures built to maintain your limitation. The impact of consistent decree cannot be overstated because you're not just speaking words into empty space. You're releasing creative force that demolishes obstacles and clears pathways for manifestation. Your mindset must shift from passive hoping to active enforcing. You're not waiting for someone to grant you permission. You're exercising authority that's already been delegated to you. The transformation happens when you realize that the provision isn't locked away somewhere, waiting for the right conditions. It's already accessible, already available, already assigned to you. Your decisions about whether to merely believe or to actually decree determine entirely different outcomes. One keeps you in perpetual waiting, while the other propels you into active receiving. Write in the comments, "I enforce my rights," if you're ready to shift from access to possession. What Dr. Joseph Murphy understood that revolutionizes this entire conversation is that supernatural provision extends far beyond money in your bank account. When you activate faith at this level, when you begin decreeing from a place of spiritual authority, you're not just attracting financial resources, you're opening yourself to favor, to divine ideas that create wealth, to opportunities that appear from nowhere, to connections with people who become catalysts for your breakthrough. This is the hidden truth that separates those who experience isolated blessings from those who walk in continuous overflow. It's not just about receiving provision, it's about being positioned where provision flows naturally and consistently. The Spirit, the divine intelligence orchestrating reality behind the scenes, begins leading you with precision when you operate in faith. You'll find yourself in the right place at the right time. You'll meet people who seem to appear exactly when you need them. You'll have ideas download into your consciousness that solve problems you've been struggling with. For years, you'll receive strategies that open doors you didn't even know existed. This is supernatural guidance, and it's worth infinitely more than a one-time financial blessing because it creates a lifestyle of abundance rather than isolated moments of relief. Your journey transforms from scarcity thinking to abundance consciousness, from crisis management to strategic positioning. But here's where the transformation deepens even further. When you decree with full understanding of faith's scope, when you grasp that you're not just asking for help but legislating reality, your words take on prophetic weight. They're no longer just hopeful statements, they become declarations that reshape your actual destiny. Prophetic doesn't mean predicting the future, it means creating the future through alignment with divine intention. Your words become creative forces that determine outcomes before they manifest. Behind the scenes, in the invisible architecture of your life, these decrees are establishing pathways, setting up circumstances, arranging events in ways that appear miraculous but are actually the natural result of spiritual law operating correctly. You begin moving in rhythm with heaven's flow instead of struggling against the current of circumstance. Your steps become ordered, not random. You're not bouncing from crisis to crisis, reacting to whatever life throws at you. You're walking with purpose and direction because there's divine guidance operating in your decisions. The impact of this shift cannot be measured in conventional terms because you're experiencing transformation at the foundational level. Your decisions improve because you're tapping into wisdom beyond your natural understanding. Your outcomes transform because you're aligned with forces working in your favor rather than against you. This is the realm where the miraculous becomes normal, where what others call luck becomes your consistent experience, where provision meets you before you even recognize the need. It's not about working harder or being smarter, it's about being positioned correctly in the flow of divine abundance. Your mindset determines whether you remain on the outside looking in or step into this current that carries you effortlessly toward your breakthrough. And what's emerging now will show you exactly how to maintain this rhythm, how to stay in this flow, how to keep moving with heaven's timing rather than human striving. Put in the comments, "I move with divine flow," if you're experiencing this shift from struggle to alignment. Now, I want to go even deeper into what amplifies the power of everything we've discussed, because Dr. Joseph Murphy discovered something absolutely crucial. Gratitude isn't just a polite response after you receive something. Gratitude is the accelerant that multiplies the effectiveness of your decrees. When you charge your declarations with genuine thanksgiving, when you speak from a place of appreciation rather than desperation, you're operating on an entirely different frequency. Thanksgiving is actually the language of those who already believe they have received. It's not hoping you might get something, it's acknowledging what's already yours in the spiritual realm before it manifests physically. Look at the most famous miracle of multiplication in history. Before Jesus distributed the loaves and fish, before the physical multiplication occurred, he gave thanks. He didn't wait until after the miracle to be grateful. He was thankful while the need still existed, while the lack was still visible, while 5,000 people sat hungry with only 5 loaves and 2 fish available. That gratitude wasn't denying reality, it was accessing a higher reality. It was acknowledging the spiritual law of abundance that supersedes physical limitation. And the moment thanksgiving was expressed, scarcity transformed into surplus. The impact of gratitude in that moment changed everything, turning what appeared impossible into overflowing provision. This is the hidden truth about Thanksgiving. It's a statement of faith, a decree in itself that says provision is already done, already accomplished, already on its way. Your mindset when you give thanks before seeing results demonstrates absolute confidence in spiritual law. It tells the universe, tells the divine intelligence, orchestrating circumstances, that you know how this works. You understand that manifestation follows belief, not the other way around. Behind the scenes, gratitude creates a magnetic field that attracts more to be grateful for. It's a self-reinforcing cycle where thanksgiving accelerates manifestation, which produces more thanksgiving, which accelerates more manifestation. But gratitude must be partnered with another essential element, expectation. This is where most people sabotage themselves without even realizing it. They decree, they declare, they speak words of faith, but beneath those words lurks doubt. They're saying one thing while believing another, and that internal contradiction cancels out the creative power of their decree. Expectation is literally the womb of manifestation. Just as a physical womb is the environment where new life develops and grows until it's ready to emerge, expectation is the spiritual environment where your declarations develop and mature until they're ready to manifest in physical form. You cannot decree with doubt and expect results. That's like planting seeds while simultaneously believing they won't grow. Your doubt becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You must expect that your words are creating actual movement in the unseen realm. You must anticipate that invisible forces, whether you call them angels or universal intelligence or quantum field responses, are aligning circumstances for your benefit. You must believe that every word you release carries genuine creative power, that it's not disappearing into nothing but traveling into the spiritual dimension where it's producing effects that will eventually materialize. The transformation from doubt to expectation is perhaps the most critical shift on this entire journey, because it's the difference between speaking empty words and releasing creative force. Your decisions about what you'll expect determine what you'll experience. Write in the comments, "I expect breakthrough," if you're choosing to align your expectations with your declarations. What happens when you bring all these elements together is nothing short of extraordinary. Dr. Joseph Murphy spent his entire career helping people understand that when you combine decree with faith, charge it with gratitude, and infuse it with expectation, you're no longer just a passive recipient of whatever life brings. You become a co-creator with the divine intelligence governing reality. You're actively shaping circumstances, molding outcomes, directing the flow of resources and opportunities toward yourself. This isn't manipulation or control, it's alignment. It's partnering with divine will rather than fighting against it, cooperating with spiritual laws rather than violating them through ignorance. Your mouth becomes your greatest instrument of manifestation in this process. Not your education, not your connections, not your bank account, not your background, your mouth. The words you consistently speak hold more creative power than any other tool at your disposal. This is the hidden truth that levels the playing field, that gives everyone equal access to transformation regardless of their starting point. A person with nothing but understanding of this principle can outmaneuver someone with every natural advantage who doesn't grasp the power of decree. Behind the scenes, in the invisible realm where all physical manifestation originates, your words are either building or destroying, creating or demolishing, attracting or repelling. There's an ancient wisdom that states it perfectly. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. Not just spiritual life and death, but the life or death of your dreams, your finances, your relationships, your health, your future. Every time you open your mouth, you're releasing creative force in one direction or another. You cannot speak defeat while expecting victory. The universe doesn't work that way. You cannot decree lack while anticipating abundance. There has to be agreement between what you say and what you expect, between your words and your belief, between your confession and heaven's promise. When alignment exists, when your declarations harmonize with divine truth, you're planting seeds that heaven itself waters and nurtures into manifestation. This is where so many people sabotage their own breakthrough without realizing it. They pray for provision on Sunday, but complain about lack all week. They decree abundance in the morning, but spend the afternoon rehearsing their problems to anyone who'll listen. They want one thing, but keep speaking another. And their words become the very barrier preventing what they desire from reaching them. The impact of inconsistent confession cannot be overstated. It creates confusion in the spiritual realm. Mixed signals that produce mixed results or no results at all. Your mindset must shift to understanding that every word matters, every declaration counts, every statement you make about your situation is either empowering your faith or undermining it. The transformation happens when you take full responsibility for your words, when you guard your mouth as carefully as you guard your most valuable possession, because in truth, your tongue is your most valuable possession. The journey from careless speech to intentional decree is one of the most powerful changes you can make because it puts you in the driver's seat of your own destiny. And what's unfolding now will show you exactly how to maintain this discipline, how to keep your words aligned with your vision even when circumstances pressure you to speak differently. Type in the comments, "My words create my world," if you're committing to conscious, intentional speech from this moment forward. Now, I want to go even deeper into the practical application of everything we've covered, because understanding theory means nothing without implementation. Dr. Joseph Murphy was adamant about this. You must guard your confession like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. The moment you begin decreeing abundance, moment you start speaking faith over your finances, there will be resistance. Fear will whisper that it's not working. Negativity will point to circumstances that contradict what you're declaring. Doubt will suggest you're fooling yourself. And if you allow those voices to cancel your decree, if you let fear override faith, you abort the manifestation process before it can complete. Consistency is the key that unlocks everything we've discussed. You cannot decree abundance on Monday and complain about lack on Tuesday. You cannot speak breakthrough in the morning and rehearse failure in the afternoon. The transformation requires sustained alignment between your words and your belief, maintained over time regardless of what circumstances temporarily look like. Keep speaking until you see it manifest. Keep decreeing until the natural realm aligns with the spiritual reality you've been declaring. Behind the scenes, Every faithful word you release is working, building, creating momentum toward your breakthrough, even when you can't perceive the progress. Most people give up right before the manifestation arrives because they measure success by immediate visible results rather than trusting the process. But here's the hidden truth that changes everything. Supernatural provision operates on a voice-activated system. Heaven isn't withholding what you need, waiting for perfect conditions, or testing your patience. Heaven is actually waiting for your decree to activate what's already been prepared. Think about the implications of